This is the ZNS Network, providing radio and high-definition television services for the entire Bahamas. ZNS Network is operated by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. It is located at Harcourt Rusty Bethel Drive, Centerville, Nassau. Our programming is designed to inform, educate, and entertain. We invite you to join us.
The following is the preamble of the Constitution of the Bahamas, which was made on June 20th, 1973, and came into operation July 10th, 1973.
Whereas 481 years ago, the rediscovery of this family of islands, rocks and keys, heralded the rebirth of the New World. And whereas the people of this family of islands, recognizing that the preservation of their freedom will be guaranteed by a national commitment to self-discipline, industry, loyalty, unity, and an abiding respect for Christian values and the rule of law. Now, know we therefore, we the inheritors of and successors to this family of islands, recognizing the supremacy of God and believing in the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, do hereby proclaim in solemn praise the establishment of a free and democratic sovereign nation, founded on spiritual values, and in which no man, woman, or child shall ever be slave or bondsman to anyone, or their labor exploited, or their lives frustrated by deprivation, and do hereby provide by these articles for the indivisible unity and creation under God of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
COVID-19 numbers on Grand Bahama continue to rise. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDon Davis, and this is the Morning Edition. Thank you so much for having us in your company. Health officials have identified 2 more cases of the coronavirus on that island, pushing the overall total in the country now to 113. The latest cases out of Grand Bahama are a 33-year-old female resident with no travel history. Case number 113 is a 52-year-old male resident of Grand Bahama, also with no history of travel. Both individuals are isolated at home. There are now 83 confirmed cases in New Providence, 16 confirmed cases over on Grand Bahama, 13 cases in Bimini, and 1 in Cat Key. Now, you can expect to hear more about those cases over in Grand Bahama and the efforts underway to carry out contact tracing on that island at a Ministry of Health news conference this afternoon. The Health COVID-19 press conference is set for 5 o'clock, and it will be carried live right here on the ZNS television network. Meantime, a group of immigration officers over in Grand Bahama who came in contact with an illegal migrant who tested positive for COVID-19 are now in quarantine for the next 2 weeks. Additionally, the C.A. Smith building over in Grand Bahama, where the migrants were accommodated, is also being sanitized. Assistant Director of Immigration Hubert Ferguson provides a status report on those officers.
All those persons are being tested, and right now they are in quarantine for 2 weeks. And then further testing would be done at that particular time to determine whether or not there's any need to be concerned. During the time they were handling the persons, they were practicing safe distancing and wearing their masks and gloves and sanitizing as usual. So I'm sure that they're in pretty good shape, but procedure, protocols that are in place dictates that they be quarantined.
Now, the lone migrant who tested positive for COVID-19 remains on Grand Bahama, but 7 others were repatriated yesterday on board a Bahamas Air flight. Here's the Assistant Director of Immigration with those details.
These are persons who were apprehended by the Coast Guard, U.S. Coast Guard, just off the coast of West Palm Beach in Florida. They came in on the 4th of July. And we had them in custody. They did all the medical screening and everything prior to us accepting them. And then the local team here, they did their due diligence in screening them for this COVID-19 virus. And they all proved to be negative at that particular time.
Now, as it stands now, more details are now being revealed for persons entering the country internationally. Travelers are required to complete an electronic health visa, also present a COVID-19 negative test, which must be taken no more than 10 days prior to travel. These individuals are also being advised to check their health visa application status. Green represents an approved health visa, yellow is a pending status, and red represents a denied health visa. Well, it's about that hour when you should be up and about this morning for your daily commute. Traffic reporter Lloyd Allen is standing by with the latest on what's happening on our streets. Good morning, Lloyd.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Near the intersection of Nassau Street and West Bay Street. And this morning I'm speaking with Officer Cressenia Johnson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division. Good morning, Officer Johnson.
A pleasant good morning to you, and a pleasant good morning, Bahamas.
So as we get started this morning, talk to us a little bit about any traffic-related matters overnight here in the capital or throughout the country.
Okay, overnight, we've had right here in the capital, we've had 9 accidents involving damages. We've had no hit-and-run accidents, no accidents involving injury. However, we still have 12 persons that are hospitalized as a result of being involved in a traffic accident.
And as we continue, of course, it's by no surprise we're located here this morning near Nassau Street, and there is some road works that is ongoing here. We were told by Ministry of Works that this would have concluded, hopefully, by Sunday. However, for whatever reason, it's continuing. And so for drivers, motorists in this area, note that the southbound lane from Bay Street all the way up to South Street, that's by the Nassau Street courts, that's still under work. Now, Officer Johnson, any advice for motorists maneuvering this area and any other projects here on the island or throughout the country?
Just to remind the general public, there has been areas designated for alternate routes. So, for example, if you're traveling north in this area, we ask the general public to utilize the Pit Road area onto Boyd Road, and you can make your way down to West Bay Street. However, we did see some work going on in this West Bay Street area. So, for example, if you're utilizing, again, traveling in the northbound to come anywhere in the West Bay Street area, you can also utilize, if you're traveling on Poinciana Boulevard, you can turn onto Augusta Street, then onto Meeting Street, onto Blue Hill Road, and then onto Bay. So just to reiterate the fact that you can utilize these other intersections for as much as possible. Drivers, if you do not have to traverse this area, please do not do so. Allow the persons who must utilize this area to do so, and do so with added care and caution.
And it's so important that you mention that last bit, because another factor in this area, the traffic light is also non-functional, so be aware of that. Now, finally this morning, one of those things that we talked about earlier in the week is the fact that many drivers, for whatever reason, are using plates on their vehicles, some of which they're not registered for. Talk to us about some of the legal ramifications with this action.
Like you said, a lot of drivers are doing it because it's everybody knows that it's a common knowledge that now their license plate it has your name registered to it. So what we find drivers doing, they take that license plate knowing that it's registered in their name and put it on a brand new vehicle. So yes, you've gotten a brand new vehicle and you took that plate and put it on there. However, that's fraud, because your vehicle now is still registered under the old information. It's not under the new information. So you have to transfer the ownership. You have to go into the road traffic department. Using that, like I said, is fraud. It comes under the penal code. So this is a arrestable offense, and you will be sent before the courts for these matters. So yes, to you, it may seem as if it's a simple matter. However, when we run those plates, if a matter was to happen with your vehicle, we're going to now pull up the wrong information. So as much as possible, have this rectified. The road traffic department is able to assist you between the hours of 9 to 4. So you can go in there and have that rectified as soon as possible.
Well, of course, a mouthful of information this morning, and we hope that it matters for you as you traverse the streets here in New Providence and throughout the country. Reporting here from Western Esplanade for the morning edition, Lloyd Allen and Officer Johnson. LaDawn, back to you in studio.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. And still to come, more on day 1 of the national examination, so keep it locked.
Bonaventure Medical Laboratory, your partners for quality health care, East Avenue, Centerville, just below Centerville Food Store. Bonaventure Medical Lab offers confidentiality and comfort while making your lab experience pleasant and relaxing. Our experienced staff gives service with a smile. We accept all major credit cards and insurance co-payments.
Bonaventure Medical Laboratory is now open in the Sandyport Plaza, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Centerville location is open daily, 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1.
Self-isolation means taking simple steps to avoid close contact with other people as much as possible, as you would with the seasonal flu. If you've been in close contact with somebody confirmed with COVID-19 or suspect that you have it, self-isolate for 14 days. You can self-isolate by staying indoors and away from family for 14 days. Choose a well-ventilated room with a closed door. Household members should stay in a different room, or if that is not possible, maintain a distance of at least 3 feet. Use a sealed waste basket and double bag your waste before disposal. Limit movement in your house. Stay in your assigned space away from the rest of the household. The caretaker will bring food and anything else you need. Use separate cookery and cutlery. Use a separate bathroom and clean it regularly. Use separate towels, separate cleaning linens, and clothing. If you are in need of care by household members, limit the number of caregivers. Assign one person who is in good health and has minimum risk conditions. Most importantly, remember, do not invite others over. Should you or anyone you know feel that you've been exposed to the coronavirus, contact the COVID-19 hotline at the Ministry of Health immediately. To reach us, call 376-9350, 376-9387, 300-2619, or our 24-hour hotline at 502-7382. For more information, visit covid19.gov.bs.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Ministry of Health and this television station.
Influenza, or the flu as it is commonly called, is a viral illness that usually occurs between the months October to March. The virus is transmitted from person to person through coughing, sneezing, or talking. Symptoms include fever, cough, headache, runny nose, generalized body aches, and fatigue. There is no specific treatment for the flu, and the symptoms usually dissipate after 3 to 7 days. Because it is caused by a virus, antibiotics are not used to treat the flu. Persons are encouraged to rest and drink lots of fluids. Panadol is recommended for fever and body aches associated with the flu. However, aspirin should be avoided due to the risk of bleeding. To decrease the spread of flu, persons are encouraged to get their flu shot annually and practice good cough hygiene. Additional information can be provided by your community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Welcome back to the Morning Edition. National exams underway for senior and junior high school students across this country. The first day of exams was for students studying music, clothing, construction, carpentry, and art and design or craft. Listening oral comprehension for the English language subject will start on Tuesday. Now, we spoke with Principal at C.I. Gibson, Herbert Ombler, who explained the process.
We have two exams, that's the BJC and the BGCSE. Now, we have more students who have signed up for the BJC in our school, so we have a BJC as well as a BGCSE school. But I would say well over for the BGCSE. It depends on the subject. Like in English, which will be on Wednesday. For BGCSE, we have 166 students to that, about that area signed up for the BGCSE English on Wednesday. Now for the BJC, because it's one of the subjects that's needed for the high school diploma, if you didn't get it in junior high school, then you retake it again. So we have about 200 or so students for the BJC English, and then like math and English, they're the two big subjects. We have large numbers in.
Well, before the national examination started, students took advantage of the extra classes that were offered. Ombler said students at C.I. Gibson are ready to complete the courses needed and later reminded them to be on time for their exams.
It's imperative that they do come and collect their timetable so they'll know exactly what time their exam is. And I know the ministry has put out a number of things on television and on Facebook where students can get that information. So the teachers have responded well. They're here ready to invigilate. And we also have some other persons who will be invigilating. So we're getting there.
The Department of Meteorology is progressing with the $20 million Doppler radar project to better detect storm systems as they approach and move through this country. Former Minister of Transport and Aviation, the Honorable Gladys Hanna Martin, signed a contract with Finnish company Vaisala in 2016 to manufacture and install the radars on various islands throughout the country. The first of those radars was installed at the Linden Penling International Airport. Senior Deputy Director of the Department of Meteorology, Jeffrey Simmons, updated us on the progress of the project.
The project was to install 5 Doppler weather radars throughout the country. So far, we have installed 3. We've had some challenges with Abaco. The radar we had installed in Marsh Harbor. Dorian sort of shook it up a bit. It was out of service for a few months. But with the COVID delay and all of that, but we now have it back on. So Abaco is back in the network right now. We have 3 of them. 2 more is to be installed in Ragged Island. We expect to start that to begin that one in the next few weeks. And then the last one in Mayaguana, that would be installed by the end of the year, so by December 31st into the new year.
Now, Simmons says the Met Department is trying to get a lot done during the busy hurricane season, and they just have to get the equipment to their destination.
The issue we have with Ragged Island really is the whole COVID thing, because the experts, the people who actually put it together, the manufacturers out of Finland, they have to actually come in and actually do the installation. So once we get past those minor points, with the assistance of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, we'll be in Ragged Island installing the system.
Launched in the spring of 2017, the Energy Observer is the first vessel in the world to generate and be powered by hydrogen. The vessel will test and improve the efficiency of a full production chain that relies heavily on renewable energies. The Morning Edition got a chance to see the vessel firsthand and talk to a crew member about their voyage around the world, which includes the Bahamas. Take a look.
We're supposed to go to the Olympics in Tokyo, but because of COVID, we had to change our plans.
With 4 crew members on board, the Energy Observer, a vessel that operates strictly on renewable energy, continued its trek around Europe and other parts of the world for nearly 3 years. But the threat of the coronavirus dashed those plans, and their targeted route had to change. For several days, the crew was docked at the Bayside Marina in the Bahamas, hoping to soak in the best the country has to offer. While giving us a taste of the vessel's operations, boatswain George Conti says the trip around Europe has been nothing but breathtaking.
First went to Martinique, so that's the French Caribbean, and then we arrived in the Bahamas a few days ago. Now we're going back to Martinique and waiting for new plans, because COVID is still there and we don't know yet what's planned for us. This ship moves with renewable energy, and it produces hydrogen from the seawater on board, so we are self-sufficient for energy, and we can go anywhere, and that's why we're moving around the world to show people that it's possible to use renewable energies and, most of all, hydrogen to store the energy.
George later talked about his experience as a boatswain, swimming with the sharks and diving while on his tour around the world.
It's very interesting, because it's the only boat around the world that works like this, self-sufficient, and so yeah, it's very, very interesting for me, because I have plenty of different tasks to do. I fly drones, we dive, we have things to repair. Yeah, we have plenty of stuff to do. So. Fishing also.
The Energy Observer will be in the country over the next few days, and the crew is hoping to be in talks with government officials regarding ways to preserve energy and to be more self-sufficient.
When we see officials from different countries, we show them that it's possible to use these renewable, free energies to change our world and to reduce the impact. I think everyone on this earth today has enough knowledge and conscious about the climate change.
Now, before the name changed, the Energy Observer used to be a sailing boat and racing boat that was built in 1981 in Canada and has traveled 3 times around the world. The crew plans to leave the Bahamas sometime next week. The president of the Grand Bahama Port Authority addressing some environmental issues that are creating a bit of an eyesore on that island. Here's Natalia Hall.
The image of the city of Freeport is a concern for some residents. While the president of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Roll, is addressing some of those concerns. Dilapidated buildings are an issue. The president says when it comes to demolishing buildings, it is a complex situation.
You cannot simply walk in and demolish the building if it's structurally sound. And the laws, the bylaws dictate that you only could go in and cause a demolition to happen if the building is unsafe and is not sound. So even though a building may not have windows or doors, or you might even see issues with a roof, but it could be fixed. So a structural engineer, a third-party structural engineer would go in and review and analyze the situation and then come up with a report. And if that engineer, third-party engineer says this building still has some soundness to it and could be fixed, you can't demolish it.
But the good news is the GBPA is working with the government to rectify the issue.
To use a different arm, the environmental court, to cause some of these environmental issues to be dealt with in the city. And we're also asking the government to consider revising the bylaws to give us more teeth to take down a lot of these buildings.
And as it relates to the roads, he says revenue gained from license fees and service charges are used to maintain the infrastructure in the city.
What happens is if you don't pay your service charges, you don't pay your license fees, etc., then you yourself are causing an issue for the city that you live in. It's almost like if you don't pay your customs duties or your VAT monies to the government, which is used to maintain the infrastructure of the country, you're doing yourself a disservice. Although some people think they're getting away, in the short term, in the long term, you're hurting not only yourself, but you're hurting your children in the future.
And for those who simply cannot afford to pay the fees.
Yeah, we understand that. We understand that, but we also know that some people are taking advantage of a situation.
Derelict vehicles are also an issue. For months now, hundreds of cars have been piled up in the Queens Cove area. Roll says the port is aware of the issue, and it was a challenge even before Hurricane Dorian.
So now you have hundreds of vehicles out there, and persons just dumping them along the road, going to Queens Cove area. So just recently, we engaged the services of 2 or 3 licensees to start moving some of these vehicles on plots of land that we control. So if you look along the Queens Cove Road right now, you'll see some of these cars have been moved, and we're going to continue to move a lot of these vehicles and put them on plots.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Thanks a lot, Italia. Stay close. We've got more news right after this quick break. You're watching The Morning Edition.
We Buy You Sell offers the best in impact windows and doors. The first line of defense in protecting your home and family with premium designs and affordable pricing. We can make your dream home a reality. We also stock a wide variety of tiles such as porcelain, mosaic, and plank tiles. We offer the lowest rates in the country. Located at number 163 Robinson Road. Call 677-2856 or 324-6427. We Buy You Sell. Come and see us today.
When a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, it is extremely important to be prepared and know just what to do. Stay informed about the storm's path by listening to the radio or television for hurricane progress reports. Check emergency food and household supplies. Be sure you have extra batteries for flashlights and radios. Bring in outdoor items like lawn furniture and garden tools. Anchor objects that cannot be brought inside. Secure buildings by closing and boarding up windows. Remove outside antennas and satellite dishes. Turn refrigerators and freezers to the coldest settings, opening only when absolutely necessary and closing quickly. Purchase ice and store it in an ice chest. Keep drinking water in clean jugs and bottles. Clean your bathtub with bleach and fill it with water for washing and flushing, not for drinking, making sure to keep the bathroom door closed so that small children cannot access the filled tub. Do not go out to videotape or take photos of the storm. Take pictures from inside where it is safe and dry. There is no harm in being overly cautious where a hurricane is concerned. It is truly better to be safe than sorry. This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency.
The medical technologists, with the help of lab aides and phlebotomists, test all bodily fluids to provide results. Without this group of professionals, the physicians, surgeons, and nurses will be handicapped in the management of their patients. Our test results clearly indicates if you suffer from any kind of disease or illness, be it cancer, diabetes, AIDS, or even the flu. It is important to note that even while you are asleep, we're testing. While you're in isolation, we're testing. While you are in lockdown, we are testing. BAMAT wishes you to remember that medical technologists, phlebotomists, medical technicians, cytologists, cytotechnicians, histologists, histotechnicians, microbiologists, pathologists, and lab aides all work as a team to get results for you. So please, stay home for us. This announcement is brought to you by the Bahamas Association of Medical Technologists in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Welcome back. Exuma was buzzing with a lot of activity over the holiday weekend. Scores of domestic and international visitors were there for sun, fun, and its turquoise seas. The famous swimming pigs and sharks were an added feature for residents and guests. Island Administrator for Exuma Keys and Ragged Island, Ivan Ferguson, says Exuma enjoyed one of its busiest seasons during the recent Independence holiday weekend.
Many of the Airbnb properties enjoyed heavy bookings also during the past holiday. This boom stimulated the local economy, and businesses such as self-drive vehicles, taxis, restaurants, and local vendors benefited tremendously from these local and international tourists.
Administrator Ferguson says airlines, including Bahamas Air, tour companies, powerboat operators, marinas, and boutique resorts also reap the rewards from the holiday action. Ferguson also predicted that bookings for the summer look very promising.
Bahamas Air dispatched its jet service to the island over the weekend and transported passengers back to New Providence after a very busy weekend in Exuma. I also spoke with tour operators who emphasized that many of their bookings comprise domestic travelers, particularly out of New Providence, who travel to the Exuma Keys to enjoy the amenities, including the swimming pigs and the swimming sharks. I also spoke with some hoteliers, especially in Staniel Key, who also spoke about the strong bookings relative to powerboats.
A former cabinet minister and parliamentarian is reflecting on his role in helping to usher in an independent Bahamas. He spoke to ZNS News about that moment in Bahamian history.
At the age of 31, I became the member of parliament during the 1972 election. And after the election was over, which was really, the election issue was hinged on independence for the Bahamas. And the election was over, the PLP won by a landslide on that issue in 1972. And I was invited by the then Prime Minister, late Sir Lyndon Pindring, to be a part of the official delegation to the Independence Conference in London in 1972. I was elated because out of the number of members of Parliament that were elected, I was one of the youngest members of Parliament. The official delegation consisted of 16 persons. Out of the 16, I think there's only 5 or 6 of us who are still alive. Sir Arthur Foulkes, Sir Arthur Hanna, Sir Orville Turnquest, the Honorable Loftus Roker, the Honorable George Smith, and myself. The rest of them have departed and gone on to their reward. The main objective was to secure independence for the Bahamas. This was not a if or maybe. The people of the Bahamas had voted on that issue to begin the creation and the building of a new Bahamas, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And of course, we were advised by the British at that time, your communication, your education, and mobilization of your people is going to be important to be able to communicate with the outside world. The financial aspect, the banking, and the tourism and other key factors have made the Bahamas one of the envy of the world when it comes to small developing countries. We have less than 500,000 people, and we live at a very high standard. We all should be proud to be Bahamians, and it all began with the independent movement. We need persons in an independent nation who will have independent ideas, independent foresight, to be willing to continue to keep the faith, right? To work hard and to try and stabilize those things which we would need when we come on hard times like we face even today. So the Bahamas overall, I'm proud to be a Bahamian, and whether it's under a PLP government or F&M government, any other government, if we continue the path that we've all gone, that all governments have brought us in the past 47 years, I believe we're on the right track. And I'd just like to make a shout out to my colleagues and to wish them all the best and trust that they're enjoying good health on this 47th anniversary of our Bahamas. Yeah, and to wish those who are now in charge in the country to realize that they have inherited, they are inheritors of what was done back then. The foundation was laid and nobody could change that. It's left now for present and future Bahamians to build on the foundation that was laid. And I trust that they build well.
Let's get it right, Bahamas. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay 6 feet apart. Remember to always practice physical distancing.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture and this television station.
Here, these for you.
These must have got false bottom, because they look empty to me.
Not for long. You taking us shopping right now.
For what?
Things you're gonna need in case you can't get out of your house after a natural disaster.
We know when we had one hurricane around here.
That's it. We get 2 lakhs. It ain't only hurricane, we getting worried about, we could have tsunami or we could have earthquake. And they don't give you no time to go shopping.
What kind of earthquake?
Scientists just find one faulty line over there by McGuana. And even though they say it's stationary, it's there. So we need to go and get our survival kit.
Like what?
What you mean, like what? Plastic bag to put your important papers in, like water, medication, flashlight, radio, canned goods, things you need, things you might need, just in case you can't get out of your house after a natural disaster. These 2 plastic containers, the children them could paint them up in their special colors so they could know what they're looking for when you send them to look for it.
That's one thing I like about you. You always ready.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Now you can watch the ZNS network of channels absolutely free. That's right, ZNS is now broadcasting 3 separate channels, free to air on Channel 13. One channel has the regular ZNS TV HD programming. One is the Parliamentary channel, and one is the 24/7 television community page. These channels may be accessed simply by attaching either a rabbit ears antenna or an indoor amplified antenna to the RF input connector on the back of your digital television or flat screen TV. Once the antenna is connected, select TV mode and choose Auto Scan, and your TV will automatically pick up Channel 13 at no charge. Once you're on Channel 13, just use the channel selector to go to each of the 3 ZNS free channels. Antennas are available on many sites online. Free TV, ZNS brings it back to you.
In the Bain and Grantstown and Centerville communities will benefit from a sewing program hosted by the Urban Renewal Center on DeVoe Street in the coming months. The goal is to arm participants with the skills they need to enhance their earning ability in the midst of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The Over the Hill initiative donated a number of sewing machines to the center on Monday. Accepting the equipment was the Minister of Social Services and Urban Development, the Honorable Frankie Campbell.
The sewing program is nothing new to Urban. We've done it before with a focus on our younger persons, school-age persons. We've done it before consistent with the standards of the Ministry of Education, PTVI, etc., etc. But what is important today is that the focus will be on an adult clientele, persons who would have had the misfortune of losing their jobs as a result of COVID, or even as far back as Dorian.
Meantime, wife of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Patricia Minnis, throughout the Office of the Spouse, is partnering in the initiative. Mrs. Minnis also highlighted a processing initiative that will benefit residents across the country pretty soon.
the end of this month, 28th through the 24th, my office will also put on a processing class for women and girls. This will initiate them to also do projects which can assist in them having finance within their home. So we are swapping, switching, and looking at various things that happens in this over-the-hill community to carry to other communities, especially the family islands. We would love to see the sewing machine as well as the food processing class going to all of our family islands.
And it's now time to work up a sweat during the Tuesday morning exercise session with Natasha Brown.
Come on down, Natasha Brown has got you with the ultimate fitness.
Your goal should never be to be better than anyone else, but to be better than you used to be. Thank you for joining downtown for another dynamic session. Let's get right to it. These exercises you can put anywhere into your routine depending on what you've got going on any time of the day. Our first exercise is simply going to be leg extensions using a regular bench. We're going to do 15 reps. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Woo! Now we're going to take it to a medicine ball routine, and the next exercise will be medicine ball jump squats. We're doing for 15, and then we're going to go right into medicine ball slams for another set of 15. Ready? Make sure you're holding the medicine ball comfortably and your back remains straight. 4, 3, 2. Let's go. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready, slams, go. There you have it. Now let's go ahead and sit onto the bench. Now we've got something called a windshield wiper, but we're going to do taps instead with extensions into the air. We've got 8 reps, 4 per side, starting with the left side. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good job. Final exercise. We're going to lie on the bench with the medicine ball into the air. Hold it here. Now, what we're going to do, as we reach all the way out behind the head of the ball, we're going to pull back in together. We're going to do this for 8. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4 more, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There you have it. Never try to be better than anybody else other than what you used to be. Until next time, I am downtown Natasha Brown, keeping you healthy, fit, and energized. I am the ultimate me.
The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th. When a hurricane alert is issued for your area, which indicates the possibility that you could experience hurricane conditions within 60 hours, you should begin the initial stages of preparation for the storm. When the storm is 48 hours away, a hurricane watch is issued. Once a watch is issued, be sure to get updates from the Met Office via television or radio. Get your battery-powered radio ready. Keep your emergency supply kit, blankets, and sleeping bags handy, and keep children and pets indoors. Be sure you have extra cash and a car tank full of gas. Fill all prescriptions. A hurricane warning means that a storm with winds up to 74 miles per hour or more is 36 hours away. At this point, secure all windows with shutters and plywood. Place your valuables in a waterproof container and store them on the highest floor in your home or in the safest area. This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency.
Join BBSQ as we celebrate World Accreditation Day, highlighting the importance of food safety. BBSQ is the focal point for all accreditation services within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Hepatitis is the inflammation of the liver, which is the organ responsible for filtering toxins from the body, producing bile for digestion, and producing proteins and clotting factors. The most important cause of hepatitis worldwide is viruses, of which there are 5 main types: A, B, C, D, and E. Hepatitis B and C are major health challenges globally, affecting over 300 million persons worldwide. The suspicion of hepatitis may be a challenge, as there are typically no symptoms. However, if infected, non-specific symptoms may include decreased appetite, nausea, vague abdominal discomfort, jaundice or yellow eyes, and abnormal liver function tests. If not treated, hepatitis of any type can lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer, which leads to over 1 million deaths worldwide. If you suspect you may have been exposed to the virus that causes hepatitis, talk to your doctor today and get tested.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority in conjunction with the Medical Association of the Bahamas and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
The Dixon Hill Lighthouse in San Salvador to let you know that marine protected areas make dollars and cents. A well-designed and managed network of protected areas can generate income for nearby communities. From MPA managers to lodges to eco-tours, there is money to be made.
Healthy marine ecosystems help to protect our islands from climate change and other impacts that we cannot control. Healthy coral reefs help to break down fake waves, and mangroves absorb storm surge and help to protect our coastline.
Older and larger fish tend to carry more and healthier eggs than younger fish. Fish replenishment areas will allow fish to grow bigger and ensure that we have more fish now and in the future.
In our replenishment area, fish are free to grow and reproduce.
As their populations increase, more fish will spill over into other areas where fishermen can increase their catch and their income.
I support the establishment of a marine protected area on my island.
I support the establishment of marine protected areas on my island.
I support the establishment of marine protected areas on my island.
I support the establishment of a marine protected area on my island, and you should too.
And you should too.
And you should too.
And you should too.
See the future with Bahamas Protected.
When a hurricane strikes, there are many critical needs to survival. Water is one of them. Access to clean water to drink, bathe, and wash things is often hard to come by, particularly in remote areas. While it's tempting to use whatever water is available, there are a few things that you should do to make sure that your drinking water is safe to consume or use. Boiling your water is one of them. Boiling water kills most pathogens that can be harmful. If your water is cloudy, filter it through a clean cloth or portable filter. You should boil filtered water for 1 minute, cool, and then store in a clean container with a lid. If boiling your water is not an option, you can disinfect it with bleach. Use 1/8 teaspoon or 8 drops per gallon, then let it stand for 30 minutes. Remember, this water should be stored in a clean container with a lid. Ensuring the highest level of food, animal, and plant safety in the Bahamas. This message is brought to you by the Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
Dreaming is an important aspect of setting life goals, and as Bahamians everywhere continue to push toward the Bahamian dream after 47 years of independence, one man is proving that even with a disability, anything is possible. Here's Lloyd Allen.
The idea of the Bahamian dream is unique for many, and according to one man living with a disability, becoming a father, an educator, and writer has all become a part of his vision of the Bahamian dream. 43-year-old Kevin Cartwright says for the past 35 years, he has lived his life as a blind person. This as a result of developing glaucoma at an early age.
At birth, I had complications, which led to several surgeries, and fortunately, the surgeries were successful, which resulted in my being able to see up to the age of 8. However, I was later diagnosed with glaucoma, and medical intervention was sought. However, at the time, the technologies that were available were nowhere near as good as they are now.
Glaucoma is a condition brought on by high intraocular pressure, which is also a degenerative condition. But despite this setback, Kevin says he continued to soar, achieving all that he could in life.
I've been able to successfully navigate my way through life. I completed an all-age school, Aaron H. Gilmore School for the Blind, and I worked for a while within the government service and eventually matriculated at West Virginia State University, where I earned an Associate's and Bachelor of Arts along with other certifications.
As a current teacher at the Aaron H. Gilmore School for the Blind, Kevin continues to inspire his peers and students. Recently, he helped in producing a song called One Voice for Change, using students to sing the message of hope, calling for equality for all, especially those affected by disability.
Take my hand and walk along with me to make society inclusive and free.
Kevin has also written a book of poems titled Revelations of a Silent Heart. The book, he says, paints a vivid picture of life seen through the eyes of a blind person. And as the 47th independence of the country remains a proud moment, Kevin says for him, there is much to celebrate.
One of the things that I can truly be grateful for is the passage of the anti-discrimination legislation, which enables persons with disabilities to, which gives us a stronger leg on which to fight, even though the full brunt of the legislation has not yet been felt. We are on our way.
And at the top of his list is the fact of having a son who he says gives his life new meaning. Kylan Cartwright is 8 years old, and while he too is listed as disabled, he had this to say about his future as a possible fully blind person.
I'm not worried. I'm brave like my dad.
The pair had this message for the country.
Happy Independence, Bahamas.
For the Morning Edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Great story there, Lloyd. Thanks a lot. Remember to stay tuned to the ZNS Network, your best choice for local, regional, and international COVID-19 coverage. We are the only station providing you with live radio and television updates throughout the day, giving you up-to-the-minute information. Our coverage continues at 10 on radio and then at 2 on the television network. For the entire morning team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Have a great morning, everyone.
Watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Olive, good morning, and a special good morning to the ladies at the Bluebird Club over in Newell, especially Gracie, and a special good morning to my adopted sister, Rosetta Belson. That's a main good woman. Thank you.
All right, Ingrid, take care of yourself. Good morning. You made it in. Wake up! Good morning, Shelly Ann. How are you this morning? I am wonderful. Great. I would like to send a shout out to Monica Flowers, Christine Fowler, Ruth Macklin, Rosemary Edgecombe, Mildred Hadley, Pastor Shirley Evans, and all the Urban Renewal friends from Pinewood Garden, from Kathleen. Thank you, Shirley. All right, Kathleen, take care of yourself. Good morning. You made it in. Wake up! Wake up. Wake up. Hello. Okay, yeah, we're going to have to get a better phone line with that one, yeah. You can just call back. 7:26 is the time, and it's time now to go to Mount Tabor, where we will find Bishop Neil C. Ellis with our word for today.
And now, here's a message from Bishop Neil C. Ellis.
There is a place that each of us have been called, chosen, and anointed to reach in our lives. It's a place where we'll never reach by foot. We will only get there by faith. There are junctions in life that all of us come to. And when we come to these junctions in life, we don't keep going. We stop for a moment. We try to collect our bearing. Then we make a decision as to whether we will go left or right or straight ahead. So often, it's these junctions in life that force us to come into new dimensions in God, to the place where we learn to lean and depend upon Him.
Oh, my goodness. What a word for today. Yes, yes, yes. You know, we always listen to that word for today, and then we pull out a little something, something from it. And you know what I got from that this morning? According to the good bishop, there's a place in life that we are all called to. But we will never reach that place by foot. We can only get there by faith. Now that is definitely powerful. You want to keep it locked and loaded. You want to stick and stay. Coming up, we'll be having news over the Bahamas Radio Network. So you keep it exactly where you've got it. It is the Wake Up Bahamas Show with the one and only Hope Shelley out in your company. Very quickly, we got to remember our sponsors, though. Bahamas First General Insurance, Commonwealth Bank, Miami Back and X Specialist, NUA, BTC, and Over the Hill Community Development. Keep your radios exactly where you got them. Keep it locked and loaded. Stick and stay. This is Radio Bahamas, 1540 AM, 104.5 FM. We are 810 AM in Freeport, Grand Bahama. Inspiration 107.9 with the national voice of the Bahamas. Definitely the station for the nation. News is next over the Bahamas Radio Network.
Zephyr, giving birth to ZNS Radio Bahamas, taking the news to the nation and the nation to the world.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Rubis. Rubis Ultratech Fuels. It's just better. Good morning, everyone. I'm Akush Lopinder. Coming up in your 7:30 report, health officials to give an update on local COVID-19